Hey guys, it's Kira and welcome back to another vlog. It is currently Friday the 8th of January and as I mentioned at the end of my last vlog, we are now back in a full national lockdown here in England. This is our third national lockdown and of course that means slowing down and spending a lot more time here at home. For anyone that doesn't know, my 9 to 5 day job is in marketing and specifically it's marketing within the tourism sector. So my work is definitely affected by this situation because essentially tourism isn't happening. So for the next few weeks at least, I'm not going to be working, which means I've got a lot more free time on my hands. Added to that, I obviously won't be going to the gym or teaching as many yoga classes because gyms and studios are also closed. So again, a lot more free time on my hands. But I am extremely grateful, more than ever at this time, to have this YouTube channel. I'm always so grateful for it, but especially at times like this, first of all for the community that it provides, and second of all for the opportunity to have projects and videos to focus on so that I don't feel like I have a completely empty void of time to fill. And of course I can still teach online yoga classes on my other YouTube channel as well as some live stream yoga classes for studios that I work at, which again helps me to feel a little bit more productive and for things to feel just a little bit more normal. But I am going to have plenty more time to create videos. So before I get started with the rest of this vlog, I wanted to basically say that if you have any requests for videos, vlogs, 24-hour readathons, sit-down videos, basically anything that you would like to see me film over the next few weeks, then definitely leave that in a comment down below. I obviously love making videos, but I want to make sure that I'm making things that you all want to see, and if you have anything in mind that you would like me to create, then definitely let me know because I'm pretty sure I can make it happen given that I have so much more time at the moment. And then moving back onto the normal vlog, it is currently snowing, which makes it a pretty great day to have to stay at home in my opinion, and I'm ever so glad for the fact that I'm currently in the middle of a great book. I'm still in the middle of reading The Most Fun We Ever Had by Claire Lombardo, which I started reading in my last vlog, and I'm now on page 208 of this book. I actually filmed a snowy day read with me this morning, which is why I've managed to read like 50 pages because I hadn't been doing any reading over the last couple of days, what with all of the craziness of the announcement and then having to hand over things at work because I wasn't going to be there for a few weeks. So reading has taken a backseat, but today is a snow day and a perfect day for doing lots and lots of reading. So I'm definitely going to be doing some more reading after I've had my breakfast, but for now it's freezing cold and I think a bowl of porridge is calling my name.
I made an old man. I said, tell me your story. He took out an old pen and wrote something for me. Then he kept walking on down the road, and I watched him disappear like smoke. And I thought I'd just seen a ghost. Then I looked down at what he wrote. It said, son, when you grow up you'll be fine. I know you've got questions on your mind. Life is gonna happen one way or the other.
So it is now Friday evening and in my opinion there is no better way to finish a Friday than with pizza, which is very handy because Domino's have just brought out some new vegan options. It is of course currently Veganuary, which is still just as exciting to me despite the fact that I've been vegan for nearly 5 years now, because every single year that passes brings with it more and more new vegan releases. And so for Veganuary, Domino's have brought out a new pizza which is called Chick Ain't, that doesn't sound quite right, Chick Ain't, but anyway, it's a vegan chicken pizza essentially. So this is kind of scary for me because even before going vegan I never would get meat on pizzas, but this one is a soya chicken with peppers and I'm quite intrigued to see how it tastes. But then most excitingly they have these new vegan nuggets, so I'm going to try one of these first and let you know what I think. So this is what they look like. standard nugget. Smells good. Oh my god. That is so good. Wow. I don't even know what that's like. Wow, that is so flavorful, and oh my god, I'm so impressed. It's got like a southern fried breadcrumb coating, and then the actual inside tastes really flavorful. Like, it doesn't just taste like a bland vegan chicken substitute. It tastes really, really good. So I'm extremely impressed with them. Would highly recommend. And then we have the pizza. So let's give this one a try. So on the pizza we have onions, peppers, and then some little like soy chicken pieces. So let's give this one a try as well. Really nice. So happy with both of those. Absolutely love it. Definitely would recommend, but especially would say it's so worth trying the vegan chicken nuggets, because I literally, as you can probably tell, I'm blown away by how good they are. They're literally incredible. Probably one of the best vegan chicken substitutes that I've ever tried. So definitely worth a try. And the pizza is great as well. They do also just have like the vegan cheese available to put any other toppings on that you want. So if you don't fancy the soy chicken pieces, then you could just get any other topping as well. But it is a really, really delicious pizza. So I'm gonna go and enjoy this and probably watch some Call the Midwife.
Whether you like it or not, stop looking for the answers, and you'll find what you've got.
Now I promise this vlog is not all about vegan taste tests, but I have just had a delivery of the most exciting sort, and it is this. I can't believe this has finally happened. Original glazed vegan donuts. Sadly, or rather probably not sadly, the original glazed vegan donuts from Krispy Kreme are only available as a dozen box, which is kind of excessive, and it does mean that I probably won't be ordering them very often, because 12 donuts on the regular is both expensive and a little bit over the top in terms of donut consumption. But for just this once, I'm very excited to be digging into a lot of vegan donuts. I will obviously be sharing at least one or two with other people in the house, but I've honestly been wanting vegan Krispy Kreme pretty much since I went vegan, and like I said yesterday, that's been nearly 5 years. It's just so exciting because I love Krispy Kreme donuts, and actually some of my favourite ones were the original glazed. I love a glazed raspberry, that was my ultimate favourite, and then the glazed caramel. I just like the super simple donuts, and I thought I might as well do a taste test for you here now. So let's see what the donuts are all about. Oh, they smell just like Krispy Kreme. This is so exciting. Okay, let's dig into one. So here we have our donut. Okay, let's give it a try. That's so yummy. Wow. You just can't go wrong with Krispy Kreme, especially vegan Krispy Kreme. In this house, we love Krispy Kreme, and it's so exciting that I now have an option for myself, because I've been missing out for the last 5 years, and I'm so excited to finally have Krispy Kremes again. I'm hoping that following the glazed original, they will bring out some other flavours, but for now, I am very excited just to have some Krispy Kremes available at my discretion, because I honestly could not be happier. Like I said, my favourite one was the glazed raspberry, and although I can't do a filled donut, I'm considering taking one of the donuts, cutting it in half, and then putting some jam inside of it to see whether that gives the same kind of experience. And I will also get Jay to try one later, because he loves Krispy Kreme even more than I did. It was him that kind of introduced me to Krispy Kreme. I'd never really had them before we got together, and It's crazy to think that I've not had it in so long, but Jay will get, instead of a birthday cake for his birthday, he would rather have a 12 box of Krispy Kreme donuts. So he's a big Krispy Kreme connoisseur. So I'm definitely excited to see what he thinks of this one compared to the like traditional non-vegan one. And I'll let you know his thoughts as well. But for now, I'm going to go and enjoy a donut or two with a cup of tea and an episode of Call the Midwife.
Searching for glory, I took out an old pen and wrote in my story.
So it's Monday morning, a new week is upon us, and my main priority for today is getting myself into a good routine with this new lockdown. This is obviously our third lockdown, but it feels like a completely new experience to me because in the first lockdown in March, I was doing my yoga teacher training, so I had so much going on to keep me busy and occupied and to give me a routine. The second lockdown in November, I also did a yoga teacher training, which was a little bit less intense, but still gave me something to focus on. And then in general, that lockdown was a little bit less strict, so it wasn't quite as intense as the March one. And then now we're back in quite a strict lockdown that feels similar to the March one, but I'm not working, I don't have a yoga teacher training program, and I feel like I definitely need to give myself a routine just to make sure that I'm not spending all day in bed watching Call the Midwife, as lovely as that sounds. So I did start my day in the best way possible with a cup of tea, and actually with an episode of something that isn't called The Midwife. I finally decided to make a start on Bridgerton because everyone's been talking about it. I watched the first episode and it is so good and I'm obsessed already, so I'm really excited to continue that one later. So I'm definitely trying to get in a good routine, and some of the things that I want to try and make sure that I'm doing every day are going for a walk, even if it's just a short one, just making sure that I'm getting out of the house and doing something. Secondly, I want to make sure that I'm doing some kind of movement, whether that's a workout, whether that's the walk, whether that is yoga, basically just making sure that I'm moving and again, not spending all day in bed. I also want to make sure that I'm reading every day. So with that in mind, my priority for today is ideally to finish The Most Fun We Ever Had. I'm about halfway through currently. Haven't picked it up for the last couple of days, but I really want to dedicate most of my attention after I've been for a walk today to this book because I really want to finish it. It's the 11th of January and I haven't finished a book yet, so I need to get myself into gear. So those are my priorities for the day, and like I said, I'm going to go for a walk in a moment, get some fresh air and just do something that doesn't involve these four walls that I spend most of my time in right now. And I'm very excited that I'm going to be listening to an audiobook on this walk. I just downloaded a new audiobook, and although I spend all my time talking about this particular thing right now, I've never actually read or listened to the book version, so I finally decided to download the memoir called The Midwife by Jennifer Worth, which is what the original 3 series of the Call the Midwife TV show were based on. And I really want to listen to them and just see how it differs and what it's like and what the show is based on, and I'm very excited. So I'm going to start listening to that on my walk, probably go and grab a coffee, then come back and do some reading. to say I'm absolutely loving this book, but progress reading it is very, very slow. I just made it to page 323, which is also the start of the final section. This book is split into seasons, so we have part 1, which is spring, part 2 is summer, part 3 is autumn, and then finally we have part 4, which is winter. So I'm at the beginning of the final section, and I think the reason that this book is taking me so long to get through, which is quite unusual because usually when I love a book, I want to get through it as quickly as possible, whereas with this book, I'm definitely not rushing my way through it. And I think that's because, first of all, it's quite large, it's over 500 pages, the text is quite small and there's a lot of things going on, but the main reason I think this one is taking me longer is because we have how many main characters? 6 main characters, I think. Yeah, the 2 parents and their 4 children. So there's 6 main characters and they each get equal amounts of detail, and then of course all of their storylines interact with each other because they're part of a family. So it's a really, really complicated and quite dense dynamic to get into, and there is so much information at all times. It's written in, I don't want to say a confusing way, but it is a little bit jarring to begin with because I guess in some multiple perspective narratives, they really clearly differentiate between the different characters. So maybe you have like different chapter heads that tell you which perspective you're getting, whereas in this one, it changes from paragraph to paragraph between different perspectives. And we also have multiple timelines, and it's not just 2 parallel timelines going back and forth. It's constantly from like the point where the 2 parents are in college to the present day, to when the children are children, when they're teenagers, when they're in college, when they're adults. And there's a constant back and forth between all of these timelines and all of these different perspectives. It was, like I said, a little bit jarring at first because I do think it's quite an unusual way to get to know characters, but by about 50 pages in, I felt like I was familiar with the setup of this book and the way that it was going to be told, but it still does just take a little bit more concentration and effort to make sure that you're not missing anything or getting confused between different perspectives. But I think the fact that I have to be so invested in these characters and put so much effort into understand them and their family dynamic, which is so complicated, is what makes this book so rewarding and interesting to read about, because this family are so intriguing. They're simultaneously quite close but also really, really fractured and have such complicated links between them all, and they feel like people who are just about doing okay and managing their lives, but they constantly feel as if they are on the precipice of some kind of terrible disaster, and that any moment something could go wrong that would then have a domino effect for the entire family. So it is super interesting. I still have about 200 pages left to read, and I am hoping to finish it today, but we'll just have to see how that goes, because I feel like I've said that for like the past 5 days and we're still reading it. But either way, I'm not putting any pressure on because I'm just enjoying the reading experience, and it is so interesting. I also did start the Call the Midwife audiobook on my walk yesterday, and again, really enjoying that. It's super interesting to see the source material that the show is based on, and I definitely would say that what's interesting in comparison to the TV show is that in the TV show there is like a voiceover narrator at the beginning and the end of each episode that is basically the older protagonist reflecting on her experience as a midwife in the 1950s and 60s in the East End. And so that kind of feels like this like reflection, and it kind of takes you out of the actual story. Whereas in the book or the audiobook, the narrator is the entire thing, so it doesn't get that same experience of reflecting, and instead it feels a bit more immersive, as if you're actually there, right there and then in the experience, which is interesting. And it also feels a little bit more technical in terms of like the midwifery and nursing information versus what's in the show, which again kind of makes sense, because I think it's easier to explain things written down in book format than it is to convey all of that scientific information on screen. So it definitely gives you a bit more context about what it was like to be a nurse at that time and all of the intricacies of it. So I'm really enjoying that one as well. And with that in mind, I think I'm going to go out for my daily walk, go get a coffee again, and probably listen to some Call the Midwife, and I'll catch up with you later on.
set myself aside, lead the way on this trial. If you don't know the way, we can stop and make a change. I know we walk for days, losing hope, fading love. This night will be okay, waking up to another day.
I did it! I finally finished the book, the most fun we ever had, and it was incredible. But this actually isn't the best piece of news I have to share with you all, which is quite amazing because this is monumentous. It is currently the 12th of January and this is the first book I've finished this year, so I expected finishing this book to be the most exciting piece of news that I would have to share with you in this vlog, but alas, the literary gods clearly knew that I was in need of some incredible news, and today we just got the news that Sally Rooney has a new book coming out this autumn, and I'm literally buzzing with excitement. I literally felt my heartbeat stop for a moment when that news was released. I honestly just cannot express how excited I am. If you saw my top 10 books of 2020 video, my two favourite books of last year were Normal People and Conversations with Friends, both by Sally Rooney. And I said in that video that I was so hoping that she would bring something else out soon because honestly, I just need Sally Rooney in my life as often as possible. And that good news has finally arrived. I didn't expect it to happen so soon because honestly, I'd read some interviews where she wasn't particularly forthcoming about the prospect of actually writing anything else. And so I didn't know if we were going to get anything, but we are. Her new book is called Beautiful World, Where Are You? And that is coming out on the 7th of September, which seems like a long way away, but I'm hoping that it'll come quite quickly. And regardless, just the knowledge that it is actually going to happen is enough to absolutely fill me with the most indescribable excitement. We don't know too much about this book yet, given that it is obviously only just been announced, but I thought I would read the summary that Faber Books put on their Instagram, which says, Alice, a novelist, meets Felix, who works in a warehouse, and asks him if he'd like to travel to Rome with her. In Dublin, her best friend Eileen is getting over a breakup and slips back into flirting with Simon, a man she has known since childhood. Alex, Felix, Eileen and Simon are still young, but life is catching up with them. They desire each other, they delude each other, they get together, they break apart, they have sex, they worry about sex, they worry about their friendships and the world they live in. Are they standing in the last lighted room before the darkness, bearing witness to something? Will they find a way to believe in a beautiful world? And that is Beautiful World, Where Are You? By Sally Rooney, which we are so lucky to be being absolutely gifted this year, because honestly, what a gift to the world that book will be. But that good news aside, back to the book that I have just finished, which was the most fun we ever had. And I absolutely loved this one. This was a 5-star read, and despite the fact that it took me a lot longer to read than I anticipated, or probably hoped for with the first read of the year, I enjoyed every single page of this book. It was the exact kind of story that I love to read, where we get to know characters in such great depth. We have multiple perspectives, we have multiple timelines, and we have this really complicated family dynamic, which is both very tense and fraught, but also there's a lot of love and care within it, and it's just so interesting to read about. This is a book that deals with so many topics. We have everything from adoption, about parenthood, about grief, eating disorders, compulsive lying, adultery, and so many other things as well, and it's just so very incredible. I absolutely loved it and highly recommend it. It's difficult to say exactly what happens, but really it just is an insight into this very complicated family dynamic, everything that brought this family from the beginning of some of these children's lives, the conception of this parent's relationship with each other when they meet in college, and everything else that follows, and it's just absolutely wonderful. So I absolutely loved it, and I'm so happy to have started the year with a wonderful read. But with that in mind, I think I'll bring this vlog to an end. I hope you enjoyed seeing the first week of full national lockdown in 2021. Not the start of the year that I was expecting, but I've had a good week nonetheless. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.